ชวนคุณไมเคิลยอนมานั่งคุยกันต่อนะคะถึงบทบาทมุมมองในฐานะที่เป็นผู้สื่อข่าวสงครามประจำการอยู่ในทั้งอิรักและอัฟกานิสถานวันนี้เขามองความมั่นคงทั้งในระดับภูมิภาคในเอเชียตะวันออกเฉียงใต้และในระดับโลกอย่างไรรวมถึงบทบาทการทำงานในฐานะที่เป็นผู้สื่อข่าวสงครามอิสระนะคะไม่ได้สังกัดสำนักข่าวใดๆทั้งสิ้นรวมถึงมุมมองการเมืองในประเทศไทยด้วยค่ะMichael, you've been in Thailand several years now, and now you reside in Chiang Mai. You must be quite used to political atmosphere in Thailand. But you said in your Facebook that you rather keep yourself aloof from Thai politics. Why is that?
Well, I have to stay aloof for many reasons. One is I am a Farang. As a foreigner, it's not my business in many ways. And other ways as well, I don't understand Thai politics. It's very complex. It's like understanding quantum mechanics, so I just can't give an opinion on that.
But do you feel you like to understand more by talking to people like Red Shirt supporters? It's center of Red Shirt in Chiang Mai.
I'm trying to understand more, and I am learning, but it just takes a long time to, there's so much nuance. And Thailand is a very complex country. It's a very complex country, and so it takes, I think would take a number of years to really understand, have a feel for it.
You can talk to both pro-red shirt, pro-yellow shirts. Both can be your friends.
Oh, I have no problem. And both are my friends. And sometimes I get an earful from both. And also people that don't really take either side.
But seeing how Thailand has come to this point of having deep political division, what does concern you the most? Because now you live in Thailand.
Well, that there would be some flashpoint or some building of tensions that could lead to a true civil war. Which Thailand seems to be resistant to civil war more than some other countries. Luckily, there's, the Thai people will go to violence, of course, but they seem to quickly, they really don't want to see Thailand torn apart because the Thai people love Thailand. They do have a sense of national identity, and that is crucial. In some other countries, they're so willing to split apart, that it can lead to civil war because you can imagine being split apart.
And I also remember you once said to a reporter in Thailand that Thai people are peaceful. Do you still believe so?
Yes and no, of course. I mean, look, I like to go watch Muay Thai. That's not peaceful. But I mean, so the Thai people know how to fight. They're very good at it. But they do, I mean, it's clear that they want peace, but they're also willing to fight. And also, Thai people can be even more emotional than Americans on some things. So they'll think with their heart very quickly. And obviously that can be dangerous at times.
You are very active on using Facebook. Also on Twitter, you have so many followers. 60,000 fans, I checked from your Facebook website. How do you work this day because you are not in the field, not in war zone anymore?
Well, it's very simple. For instance, I can take a photo with my camera and it goes straight to my iPad wirelessly. And so within 1 or 2 minutes, I can do a Facebook update.
Where do you get your material?
Just on the streets. A lot of Americans like to hear about Thai food, and I love Thai food, so I'll just maybe take a photo at lunch. And I mean, actually, I'm working on other things, but I'll post on the small things that people like to hear about as well. For instance, I saw a marathon recently in Chiang Mai, and people were quite interested in that.
Does it mean you want to step away from reporting about war, about violence in many countries like Iraq and Afghanistan that you did a lot in the past?
Yes, 2012 actually is the first year since 2004 that I have not been in a war. And so it's very good.
Just the first year?
First year. I have 1 more week to go, and if I can make it through this week with no war, this will be the first full year that I've been out of combat.
Do you miss it?
No, and I never missed it. A lot of people think that you must be an adrenaline junkie. And that's not true because I waited about, I think, 3 years before I went to the Iraq War. 3 years after 9/11. I went to the Iraq War first in December of 2004. And now this is December of 2012. And I only went because I sensed that the war was going badly. I actually avoided it for about 3 years.
NYT, New York Times, at some point said you are a journalist who has been embedded the longest time in any war. So it must be in your blood somehow.
Well, some of my family and friends are, in the military or were in the military, but some are actually still in. Many of my friends, most of my closest friends either are or were in the military. And 2 of my friends were killed in Iraq. And so and my country is at war, so I take it quite seriously. But again, I don't like the wars. I mean, if I could snap my fingers, it would all be finished.
How do you see the President Obama said it's successful that finally U.S. troops came out, left Iraq finally, and now they are in the process of pulling out of Afghanistan?
Well, that's going to depend on Iraq. We're not going to know for a long period of time. I mean, it's clear that Iraq is still fighting quite a lot. They've got some internal frictions, but Iraq is a fractious country anyway. They're always fighting each other. But Afghanistan, I think, will not be a success story, which is sad. I like Afghans actually quite a lot. I get along with them, and I hope the best for them. But my gut instinct for Afghanistan is that it's heading toward a civil war.
What do you think you have learned the most as a war correspondent for quite a long time?
Oh, so many things. Some are quite obvious that it's bad, but well, I knew that going in. That's nothing new. And also, one of the things too is how quickly people can rush to war playing on some team. They wear a shirt, yellow shirt, red shirt, or in the United States, Democrat, Republican, whatever. And when their president says, let's go to war, people will automatically side with him no matter what he says, right? And if, President Obama's clearly been a warring president. He gets a pass on it. President Bush was a warring president. He didn't get a pass on it. But I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm saying that wearing the shirt can be good or bad, though, because it shortcuts your thinking, your critical thinking, into being able to step back and say, hey, what we're doing here is wrong. Maybe, when it was believed that Iraq was going towards weapons of mass destruction, then it did seem sensible because it's quite obvious that they would use chemical weapons, which they had done before on the Kurds. So it wasn't not actually in question. And then questions arose later about whether they actually had them, but not to go into that.
You are an independent reporter. You don't have to work full-time for any news organization. Does it make your life easier as a reporter, as a correspondent, that you can work independently?
Right. Well, I never call myself a reporter because there's a slight difference between a reporter and say a correspondent or a writer. So I usually call myself a writer. But yeah, there's tremendous differences. For instance, what was actually a big benefit for Iraq and Afghanistan, many benefits. One is I could follow my nose very quickly. I could pick up on something about to unfold and immediately do it without consultation. Whereas some of my cohorts who worked for large media organizations had to clear it with their editors. And so they would often kind of miss the boat and I could just jump right on it.
You are not working with any news organization and you rely a lot on donation. Do you have it a lot more these days with the blossoming of social media?
It comes and goes. It depends on what I'm writing about. And sometimes I write about things that just do not make money. For instance, a lot of people think that I was getting rich on Afghanistan, but Americans don't want to hear about Afghanistan. I was writing about Afghanistan because Afghanistan is important. We have a lot of troops there. When I first went to Iraq, I actually did not have the idea of taking donations. I was in Iraq for about, I would say 7 months, possibly 8, something like that, before I even got the idea of accepting donations. And so it occurred to me one day, I need some money to keep doing this. This is very expensive. And I put up the PayPal button, and it was quite successful. Writing about the fighting in Thailand, it just does not make money. But it's important because I love Thailand, and so if I can add something to it that I think can benefit, I've tried.
Do you think at some point you'd like to cover what's going on in the South?
I've thought about it very hard, but to go down there, I really would have to study it very hard. And that takes a long time. It takes 7 days a week, months on end, studying just to get your foot in the door. I've been through this before with Iraq and Afghanistan. It takes a huge amount of study. In the meantime, I have other pressures to write some books. And so I probably will not go to the south of Thailand.
What do you think Thai people should be aware of political division, political conflict, and from the past violence, the past protest?
Obviously to try to avoid going to violence, which it's probably going to happen at times. It happens in the United States, obviously. It happens, in many countries. We've just seen riots in Sweden, of all places, and it probably will not be the end. We see frictions in Spain. We see Belgium wishing to split apart. I mean, where can you not look where you don't see people having these frictions. And so the main thing is look at what's happened in Norway recently with the mass murder up there, and Norway is a very peaceful country. So humans naturally have frictions for so many reasons.
What the message you like to leave for Thai people?
I would say, long live the Kingdom of Thailand. I mean, I love this country, and I wish that it would just continue in a peaceful direction. It's obviously developing. There's been a lot of input. I mean, the royal family has done a huge amount for the country in keeping it together, and that's important to always remember.
ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you very much Michael for joining me เป็นมุมมองเสียงสะท้อนจากนักข่าวสงครามอิสระนะคะที่เห็นความรุนแรงมาแล้วทั่วโลกและหวังว่าส่วนหนึ่งก็น่าจะเป็นบทเรียนให้สังคมไทยได้เรียนรู้ไปพร้อมๆกันค่ะทั้งหมดคือตอบโจทย์สำหรับวันนี้ค่ะดิฉันณัฐฐา โกมลวาทินสวัสดีค่ะ